Boys and girls. So we're going to be reading this book called Miss Rumphius. I remember when I went to Armstrong, I remember reading or having this being read to me in library, and it was a really good one. Lots of good stuff with spring season coming up, and also about how to treat people in the world and how to spread a little joy and kindness. So here we go. The Lupine Lady lives in a small house overlooking the sea. In between rocks around her house grow blue and purple and rose-colored flowers. The Lupine Lady is little and old, but she has not always been that way. I know. She is my great aunt, and she told me so. Once upon a time she was a little girl named Alice, who lived in a city by the sea. From the front stoop she could see the wharfs and the bristling masts of the tall ships. Many years ago her grandfather had come to America on a large sailing ship. Now he worked in a shop at the bottom of the house, making figureheads for the prows of the ship, so the front of the ship, and carving Indians out of wood to put in front of stores. For Alice's grandfather was an artist. He painted pictures, too, of sailing ships and places across the sea. When he was very busy, Alice helped him put in the skies. So there's the little shop. And that's the prow of a ship, and then the figurines often go on the front of the ship, and they can choose what they look like. And then there's her helping with the skies, painting them. In the evening, Alice sat on her grandfather's knee and listened to stories of faraway places. When he had finished, Alice would say, "When I grow up, I too will go to faraway places, and when I grow old, I too will live beside the sea." "That is all very well, little Alice," said her grandfather, "but there is a third thing you must do." "What is that?" asked Alice. "You must do something to make the world more beautiful," said her grandfather. "All right," said Alice, but she did not know what that could be. In the meantime, Alice got up, washed her face, and ate porridge for breakfast, kind of like oatmeal. She went to school and came home and did her homework, and pretty soon she was grown up. And there she is sitting on her grandfather's lap. Then my great aunt Alice set out to do 3 things that she had told her grandfather she was going to do. She left home, went to live in another city far from the sea and the salt air. There she worked in a library, dusting books and keeping them from getting mixed up, and helping people find the ones they wanted. Some of the books told her about faraway places. People called her Miss Rumphius now. And look at, is that beautiful woman in the middle? There she is at the library. Sometimes she went to the conservatory in the middle of the park. It's kind of place like a greenhouse that you can visit to see plants from all over. When she stepped inside on a wintry day, the warm, moist air wrapped itself around her, and the sweet smell of jasmine filled her nose. "This is almost like a tropical isle," said Miss Rumphius, "but not quite." So there she is about to go in. You can see how it looks a little like a greenhouse. And there she is inside, enjoying all the different plants. So Miss Rumphius went to a real tropical isle, where people kept cockatoos and monkeys as pets. She walked along beaches, picking up beautiful shells. One day she met Baba Rajah, king of the fishing village. "You must be tired," he said. "Come into my house and rest." So Miss Rumphius went in and met Baba Rajah's wife. The Baba Rajah himself fetched a green coconut and cut a slice off the top so that Miss Rumphius could drink the coconut water inside. Before she left, the Baba Rajah gave her a beautiful mother-of-pearl shell on which he had painted a bird of paradise and the words, "You will always remain in my heart." "You will always remain in mine, too," said Miss Rumphius. And there she is on the island. And here she is receiving the shell. My great aunt Alice My great aunt, Miss Alice Rumphius, climbed tall mountains where the snow never melted. She went through jungles and across deserts and across deserts. She saw lions playing and kangaroos jumping. And everywhere she made friends she would never forget. Finally, she came to the land of the lotus eaters, and there, getting off a camel, she hurt her back. A foolish thing to do, said Miss Rumphius. Well, I have certainly seen faraway places. Maybe it is time for me to find my place by the sea. And it was, and she did. And she is climbing the mountains. And here she is, where she hurt her back. From the porch of her new house, Miss Rumphius watched the sun come up. She watched it cross the heavens and sparkle on the water, and she saw it set in the glory in the evening. She started a little garden among the rocks that surrounded her house, and she planted a few flower seeds in the stony ground. Miss Rumphius was almost perfectly happy. There is still one more thing I have to do. Do you remember what it is? I have to do something to make the world more beautiful. But what? The world already is pretty nice, she thought, looking out over the sea. And look at this, I always dreamed that someday when I grow up, I'll get to live in a house like this too. Right by the sea. After a hard winter spring came, Miss Rumphius was feeling much better. Now she could take walks again, and one afternoon she started to go up and over the hill where she had not been in a long time. "Oh, I don't believe my eyes," she cried when she got to the top, for there on the other side of the hill was a large patch of blue and purple and rose-colored lupines, which is a type of flower I'll show you. "It was the wind," she said as she knelt in delight. "It was the wind that brought the seeds from my garden here. And the birds must have helped too." Then Miss Rumphius had a wonderful idea. You might recognize that picture from the cover of the book. She hurried home and got out her seed magazines. She sent off to the very best seed house for 5 bushels of lupine seed. All that summer, Miss Rumphius, her pockets full of seeds, wandered over fields and headlands sowing lupines. Sowing is a fancy word for planting. She scattered seeds along the highways and down the country lanes. She flung handfuls of them around the schoolhouse and back of the church. She tossed them into hollows and along stone walls. Her back didn't hurt her anymore at all. Now some people called her that crazy old lady. So here she is sending off for the seeds. And here she is planting those seeds. Why do you think she's doing that? Any ideas? The next spring, there were lupines everywhere. Fields and hillsides were covered with blue and purple and rose-colored flowers. They bloomed along the highways and down the lanes. Bright patches lay around the schoolhouse and the back of the church. Down in the hollows and along the stone walls grew the beautiful flowers. Miss Rumphius had done the most difficult thing of all. Can't wait for you guys to see this one. So these are lupines. I'll try to get it up close for you. Those are lupines. And you can look them up. That might be a good thing to look up. And there's the back of the schoolhouse, or the back of the church and the schoolhouse, and along the stone walls. My great aunt Alice, Miss Rumphius, is very old now. Her hair is white, and every year there are more and more lupines. Now they call her the Lupine Lady. Sometimes my friends stand with me outside her gate, curious to see the old lady who planted the fields of lupines. When she invites us in, they come slowly. They think she is the oldest woman in the world. Often she tells stories of faraway places. When I grow up, I tell her, I too will go to faraway places and come home to live by the sea. That is all very well, little Alice, says my aunt, but there is a third thing you must do. What is that? I ask. You must do something to make the world more beautiful. All right, I say. So there she is, all the kids looking at her house. And here she is, talking to all the kids. So think about that. Let's see how many kids are in this picture. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 10 kids in this picture. Oh, she just told them they all had to make the world a more beautiful place. Think about it. They all made the world a more beautiful place. All right, I say. But I do not know yet what that can be. And maybe, hopefully, when we get back to school, I can read this book to you again, and so that you guys can get a really good up-close look to these beautiful pictures. I love that sunset in the background, if you can see it. And all those kids playing in the lupine. So that's the end of this story. So the lesson in this story is that one of the things that we all should do in life is try to find a way to make the world a more beautiful place. Now, it could be a real life thing, like going around and planting flowers, right? Or a more beautiful place also might just be being kind to people, right? And spreading beauty like that. Okay? This is